Hello. My name is I'm Undrai Fizer. Let me slow myself down. I'm Undrai Fizer. So welcome to Profoundly Speaking, the day after celebrating the rebirthing and the reborn and the reawakening of Christ within you. May Christ rebirth himself and be reborn in you in every moment. May a new manifestation of the Christ life be revealed from you every day. Let a full-grown stature Christ appear in you, not the 7-pound, 6-ounce baby Jesus, but a full-grown stature of Christ. May he be reborn in you every day, and not just in the testimony, and not just in his cliche, but may you experience a rebirthing and a rebornation and the reawakening of Jesus within. And so many times we say these things without any fruit of it because they feel good to receive. In spirituality, it feels good to receive all of the magnum success and the power words given. It's easy and it's awesome to receive it. I receive it, I receive it. But after all of what you have received, has there been a harvest or a manifestation of tangible fruit? Fruit. Everyone say fruit. 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 The fruit of spirit. The tangible expression of a resonance of spirit being in me. I could say, may Christ be reborn in you. And we could say, I receive it. But what does that look like for Christ to be reborn? Let Christ be reawakened in you. Allow you to experience a total rebirth of Christ. Is that the rebirth of a confession of faith? Is that the rebirth of Lord, I receive? Is that a rebirth of I love the Lord? What is it for Christ to be reborn in a full stature within you? That the apostles and the prophets and evangelists, pastors and teachers perfect the saints for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body, until we all grow into the full Christ man. Because it's all about developing into a full-grown Christ in the earth. Not just you getting over your ex, not just you getting over a job, not just you getting over a loved one, but until we all come into and grow into a full-grown Christ in the earth. Is that your legitimate thought? Is that your daily vision? I want to grow into a full-grown Christ. Is your vision, I want to start a company? Is your vision, I want to get married? Is your vision, I want to pay off something? Or is your heart desire to grow into a full-grown Christ? Or is that something that will happen by osmosis? If I grow into one, fine, as long as I can do this. Listen, I'm asking a legitimate question. Is your heart's desire to grow? Is your heart desire to grow into a full-grown Jesus? To be perfected for the edifying of the body of Christ until we all come into the unity of the faith? Is that your desire? Excuse me, to walk in the unity of the faith, to come into the unity of the faith. Listen, Ephesians 4:11, 12 and 13. Look at it. It says it came to perfect the saints. Is that your desire to be perfected in your identity, not just in your local church participation? That's a part of it. But is that your heart's desire and not a desire that you leave in God's hands when you get to it? Is that your desire? I want to be perfected. I want to come into the unity of the faith. I want the body to be edified, which means I want the body to be strong. I want the body to be nourished. I want the full body of Christ to be nourished. Is that your desire for the Christ man in the earth? To be nourished, till we all come into the oneness of knowing. Is that really your desire? If that's your desire, raise your hand. If that's your yearning, I want us to come into the fullness of the faith. Is that your desire when you go to bed? I want us to come into, not just you, but us, the full body. I want us to come into the unity of the faith. And are you doing what you need to do to ensure that the body comes into the unity of the faith? Look at the works of your hands. Look at the work of your mind. Look at the work of your focus. Look at what you pay attention to. Look at what you move for. Does all of these things you do say unity of the faith? Do all of these things you think about and where you place your priority, is it saying unity of the faith? Is your body of work saying unity of the faith? Listen, does your body of work say, does the fruits of your hand say unity of the faith? Does the unity of your hand, does the movement of your life say, I want the Christ to be a full-grown man? Ask yourself, not just loose thought. I'm talking fruit, because now we're in a season, and we've always been, where fruit is the answer. There must be fruit seen, not sprouts. Fruit from all of the years that the word has been invested in you. Is there a tree? Out of all of the words that's been spoken to you, that you have followed through, has there been a tree? Not a dead tree, not a tree that was born and then cut down. Out of all of the truths you have heard, is there a harvest in your front yard, in your backyard, in your fields? Am I making sense? Out of all of what, write this down, out of all of what I have heard, is there fruit in my house? Not fruit that was some years ago. Is there fruit in my house? Is there meat in my house? Raise your hands if you follow. Out of every word you done heard, out of every prophetic word, out of every preached word, out of every conversation, out of every coaching session, out of every discussion, out of every conversation at dinner, is there a harvest in your field? Not a harvest of beginnings, not a harvest of I remember, not a harvest of a long time ago. Do you have a tree? Do you have a field of harvest, a field of fruit in your yard? And see, that's what we're getting to, because your life movements will determine the perfection of the saints. Your life's movements will determine the edifying of the body. Your life's movements will determine the unity of the faith till we all become a grown man. And yeah, y'all are writing it down, but ask yourself that question. Out of everything you heard, young man, out of everything you've heard, do you have a tree in your yard? Because you've had access to the word, but do you have a harvest to prove as a legacy and a testimony? Write this down. Number one, I'm going to give you 3 points. Fruit is your testimony. Write that down. My fruit is my testimony that I have been with God. Edna, you hear what I'm saying? Mary, you hear what I'm saying? Listen, fruit is the testimony that I've been with God. Write that down. Go ahead and put that on the screen. Go ahead and put that on the screen. Fruit is the testimony that I've been with God. Fruit reveals, Crystal, that I've been with God. Not just I remember what he said. No, see, a baby proves that man been with you. See, when you have a baby, it's proof that somebody been with you. Your fruit is your offspring. Fruit is your child. Fruit is the child that says God has been with you. Am I making sense? Fruit is my testimony that I've been with God. Fruit says I've been with God. See, when they see Ben, they know I've been with Bridget. They say, you can't deny this one because Ben is my fruit. I can say, I've never been with Bridget, but when you look at him, it looks like Undrai. See, your fruit looks like your moment with God. Fruit looks like the covenant you have with God. Fruit is the covenant. Fruit proves that you've been with God. Let me write this down. Fruit is confirmation. I'm writing this down. That I've been with God. Out of all the word you done heard, Jocelyn, out of all the FaceTimes and the Facebook Lives and the writings and the books and the teaching and the teaching and the teaching and the teaching and the teaching, is there a child with you? Is there a child you holding? You understand? Yeah, fruit is your testimony. Number 2, fruit legitimizes your knowing. Write that down. Fruit legitimizes your knowing. Fruit legitimizes. It says that it has happened. It says it legitimizes your belief. Fruit legitimizes your practice. Without fruit, we don't know if you practice. Without fruit, we don't know if you believe. You just can't say you believe. Without fruit, we don't know that you believe. But with fruit, we know you believe. Not with what you say. With fruit, we know you believe. How do I know you believe? I can see the fields. I can see the harvest in your yard. With fruit, it legitimizes my practice. Me talking don't legitimize it. Me repeating what the farmer planted don't legitimize it. But me growing from my ground legitimizes my belief. That's simple, isn't it? Isn't that simple? Fruit legitimizes my knowing. Fruit legitimizes our knowing. It says he knows it. She knows it. Why? I'm seeing the fruit. Not what you say. Fruit is not what you say is coming out the ground. Fruit is what's out the ground. Fruit is not, because see, it's coming up. Fruit is not you saying it's coming up. Fruit is it being up, and I see it. Fruit. Fruit of the Spirit. Fruit of the Spirit. Fruit from the Spirit. Am I making sense? Yeah, fruit. Number one, fruit confirms that I've been with God. Fruit is my testimony. Number two, fruit legitimizes our knowing. It legitimizes. It says it's true. It says you do know it. When we look at the fruit, it says you know it. You don't have to tell us you know it. We see the fruit, and the fruit says you know it. You understand the fruit. That's right. That's right. Number three. Fruit will free us from wandering, pondering. Fruit will free our minds from wandering, pondering, which means it'll free us from trying to think way back. You can ask a question and we try to think. Let me see. Fruit will free you from thinking. Fruit will free you from wandering, pondering. Fruit will free you from wandering while you're pondering. Let me see. And before you know it, you're wasting time because you're trying to go back in years to see the experience that passed, that you didn't pay attention to, that you let get past you. So let me say, fruit will free our minds from wandering, pondering. Wander, not wondering. Wandering. W-A-N-D-E-R-I-N-G. Not wondering, wandering. There you go, Edna. It'll free us from wandering in our pondering. Fruit will free you from saying, let me see. Fruit will free you from, let me see. Because you're wasting time thinking back. Because if you got to think back, it means you're not in the moment. Let me see. If you got to think back to what you missed, it means you're not in the now truth. You're not in the present truth. See, when we have fruit, we are residing right now in the present truth. Not in our present reality, but in the present truth of the Father. Do y'all hear what I'm saying, guys? Fruit will determine what you pay attention to. Fruit will determine if you pay attention. Fruit doesn't determine if you understand the rhetoric. Fruit confirms that you've paid attention. Hey, I said 3. Put number 4. Fruit will confirm that I paid attention. Fruit confirms that I've paid attention. Fruit will confirm that I've paid attention. That I've paid attention. Fruit confirms that I'm up to speed. And see, it's been time for the sons of God to have fruit that remains. It's time. It's not just because, no, it's time for fruit to remain. That's how the world will see this Christ of ours. Not by us saying Jesus, but by fruit. By our fruit, they will know. Fruit, not what you said. Number 1, fruit is your testimony. Fruit confirms that you've been with God, not what you say. What you say confirms nothing. Fruit says, I've been with God. Fruit is the tangible manifestation that says whoever you've been with, it must have been God. Poverty is the fruit that I've been with undisciplined. Poverty is the fruit that I've been with laziness and mismanagement. Death and sickness is the fruit that I haven't taken care of something. Wherever there is mismanagement, that's the fruit that I've been with the wrong person. Fear is the proof that I've been with doubt. Fear is the fruit that I haven't had belief. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? There is always something that's the fruit of where I've been. And do y'all see what I'm saying? Fruit is your testimony. It don't have to be your legacy, but fruit is your testimony. You understand what I'm saying? It says what you've been with. Number 2, fruit legitimizes your knowing. Fruit says you know what you're talking about. Fruit legitimizes and make legal what you know. Number 3, fruit will free our minds from wandering, pondering. Let me think back. Fruit will free you from having to think about it. Let me see. Because fruit says you are up to speed. Fruit says I am in right now. Fruit says I'm now in the current. And you can say I'm just not starting. Just because you're starting now don't mean that your fruit is now. Your start isn't fruit. Fruit confirms your practice. Just because you're starting today, that's not fruit. You understand? All right. Number 4, fruit confirms that I paid attention. It confirms what I paid attention to. So, is it your heart's desire to be perfected, for the saints to be perfected, for the saints to be edified, for the saints to come for Christ to be edified and grow into a full Christ? Is that your heart's desire, that we create a full Christ in the earth? Are you desiring for a full-grown man, Jesus, to be created in the earth? And when you want that to happen, your daily life rhythms is going to say that. You just won't say, oh, I want God to have his way. Are you living in a way that says, I desire God to have his way? Are you living in a way that when folks see you, it says, you must want God to have his way? When I see you, Mary, I say, man, you living like you want God to have his way. When I see you, Crystal, you look like you want God to have his way. Kathy looks like you want God to have his way. Listen, when you live, does the atmosphere say it looks like she wants God to have his way? Am I making sense? Am I making sense, guys? When the atmosphere sees you, it says, Brittany, it looks like you want God to have his way. Because whatever you desire God to do, it looks that way through your ways and through what you pay attention to and how you handle business and how you manage your life and how you manage your time and how you manage your heart. When it looks like you want Christ to be perfected, it looks like you want Christ to be a grown man just by how you are living, not how you come to church, but how you're living with yourself. And what you're doing with yourself. It looks like you want Christ to have his way. And when it looks like you want Christ to have his way, Christ will have his way. And the fruit of your life is going to be seen. Your fruit is your testimony. Your fruit will legitimize your knowing. Your fruit will free your mind from wandering, pondering. And your fruit will confirm that you've paid attention. Fruit confirms you've been with God. Not what you say, but what is seen. And sometimes we don't have nothing to see. So we don't understand how to explain when something's not there to see. Y'all hear what I'm saying? If you have something that's seen, you don't need to explain. But when it's not there to see, we're busy trying to explain. And wouldn't it be incredible to live not having to explain anything? That's right, Edmund. I don't have to explain nothing. You can see it. When you see me, you see God. Jesus said, when you see me, you've already seen who I believe. When you see me, you've seen God. So if I see you, should I see God? Should I see the fruit that you've been with God? When I see you, is your mind pondering of a time way back? Or am I stepping in the present moment of God when I'm in your presence? Listen, when I'm in your presence, let me write this down. When I'm in your presence, am I in the current position of God? When I'm in your presence, am I in the present moment of God? When I'm in your presence, am I in the present moment of God? Oh yeah, these truths get deeper and deeper and deeper. Not to hurt anybody, but to reveal where we are, Jan. Deep truths don't come to stretch your mind. Deep truths expose your attention. Deep truth exposes the legitimacy of your attention. Deep truths don't come to just sound revelatory. Deep truth comes to expose the legitimacy of your attention. It reveals where you have paid attention. When it seems like there is a giant gulf between us and a certain reality, it means that there is a gulf between what we pay attention to and what we practice. When it seems like, wow, it lets you know the depth of your attention. Fruit is your testimony. Fruit legitimizes what you know. Fruit will free our mind from wandering, pondering. Fruit will confirm that you've paid attention. Fruit also confirms that you've been with God. Fruit. Let's write that down. Fruit. Not talking. Not a bunch of talk. Not a bunch of wishing. Not a bunch of intention. Not a bunch of talking. Not a bunch of verses. Fruit is tangible. Fruit. Not a bunch of talking. Not a bunch of talk. Fruit is the power, guys. Fruit is the power. Fruit. When there is fruit, there is confidence. When it's fruit, you know you've done it right. When it's fruit, you know you're living it right, not thinking of it right, not studying it right. Fruit will answer all your questions. Fruit will answer your questions. You won't have to ask anybody. I just want to know if I'm doing it right. Fruit will let you know what you're doing right. Fruit, not a person. Am I doing it right? I don't know. I don't see. Do you see any trees in your yard? Am I doing it right? Do you see anything in the yard? Fruit, Charmaine. Dr. Fizer, am I doing it right? Do you see any trees in the yard? Am I doing it right? Do you see anything in the yard? Fruit will answer your questions, not a person, because we want people to know our heart, but God knows fruit. We want people to know our intention and give us blessings of favor for our intention. But God blesses fruit. That's why we want people to feel a certain way about us, because they can honor our intention. But the atmosphere don't see your intention. It sees what you've grown. The atmosphere does not see your intention. The atmosphere does not see intention, it sees fruit. The atmosphere does not see intention, it sees fruit. The atmosphere does not see your intention. Write that down. See, we want people to recognize our intention. See, people can recognize what you want to do and give you a pass on what you want to do. But what you want to do don't pay the bills. It's what you have. What you want to do don't pay the bills. It's what you have in the account that pays the bills. And we've grown accustomed to a spirituality where people connect with us and give us favor on what we want to do but haven't produced. But it's the divine that must be in your account in order to pay the bills. And so many times we lived on presumption because that type of way of getting favor based on intention creates assumption in us and not faith. It creates an assumption. I thought I was doing it. See, fruit will keep you from fearing you thought you did something. See, did y'all understand that? See, when people give us favor based on intention and not execution, and they give you a pass to the promised land, and you get corrected, you begin to say, well, I thought I was doing it right, but how could you have thought you were doing it with no fruit? How could you have thought you were doing it right with no fruit? People gave you access to something greater based on intention and not execution. And when you keep getting passes given and doors open behind what you wish you would but haven't, you're not going to understand faith. And you're going to have a perverted understanding. You're going to say, I thought I did everything right. And it's like, no, you did nothing at all. Faith, the divine must be in the account. The atmosphere doesn't open the door behind intention. It opens the door behind fruit. Am I making sense? Hey, that's my time. I thank you for joining me. If you have questions, inbox me. Ask me, text me. Download our Fizer Interglobal app from the App Store or the Google Store. It's an interactive educational kingdom app. It has podcasts and videos and blogs and truths from me and my wife and schedules on different things. It has so many different things. And you can also enjoy daily writings that come straight to your phone and your mobile device. Download that. Order books and podcasts from it, okay? Follow us on our social media. Ask questions. Text me if you need to know something. Let me see how intentional you are with your purpose. Hey, if you want to sow a financial gift of any kind, please do. Cash App me at $Coach Fizer, $Coach Fizer. And so whatever you feel for today, if you want to partner or be a support system with us financially, please do. Or go to the app where it says invest financially and give whatever you want to. It's via PayPal through that system. If you want to write me, please do. Because I don't want you to just hear good truths on one day because it's Sunday. I want you to hear something that's going to give you fruit. That you're going to practice and plant, and so you can see the fruit, so it can free you from having to think way back. Nobody won't have to validate anything when you have the fruit in your yard. Don't look for people to validate what they can't see. Don't look for people to validate your heart. Fruit will validate your heart. It'll let you see what you believe. It'll let you see it. Am I making sense? I'm Undrai Fizer, and may Christ continually be reborn in you. Peace.